Plenty Valley FM.
And we say we love you to our volunteers, and that's what today is all about. Plenty Valley FM is broadcasting live from the Diamond Creek Tram Cafe, and it's been a stream of people coming through today, so it's been absolutely fantastic. And the sun's gone behind the tree, so it's very pleasant here at the moment. And I have one of the station's volunteers who's been around for a long time. And I've got Chris Keating with me. And
hi, folks.
And he does The Heat Is On a Saturday night.
Yeah, and I do Wednesday breakfast now, Snap Crackle Pop on Wednesday mornings.
Oh, crikey, how are you getting up so early?
I don't have a job anymore. It makes it much easier.
Oh, right. Well, we interviewed people from the Diamond Valley Community Support Group who may be able to help you.
They may be able to help, yes.
And Chris, how do you find Plenty Valley FM as a volunteer organisation?
It's actually, I mean, I've been there coming up 20 years in June. It'll be 20 years I've been there, and it's fabulous. It's a great. I mean, it's great fun. You get on the radio and you play your own music rather than what the commercial stations push at you. But it's a way of contacting with so many people and helping so many community groups. It's marvellous.
And what made you join?
I was actually unemployed at the time, strangely enough.
Still,
and I got sent for a work for the dole course. That my job provider had a work for the dole scheme going at Plenty Valley FM, and I'd never thought about doing radio of any sort. And I did a little program there with a few other people. I enjoyed it so much, I basically hung around and did a program with a couple of the other people on the course, and I've been here ever since.
And what do you get out of it yourself?
As I said, great enjoyment. I get to play my own music, and which showcases underrepresented artists or artists who don't get played on radio at all. I get to play stuff that commercial stations don't hear, new Australian artists, which is always wonderful, fresh talent.
Yep.
And it's just a way of giving something to the community. You do outside broadcasts and things like we're doing today at the Tram Cafe down here in Diamond Creek. It's marvellous.
And it's great to see all the people around. You get to know your listeners, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. And you get to make great friends. I mean, my best friend is someone I met at Plenty Valley FM. I actually trained her to be a presenter, and we've been best buds ever since. That's marvellous. I've made so many friends through the station. It's great.
And we just had a lady on by the name of Jennifer, and she spoke to me about a number of different people that she knew. She presented on Plenty Valley FM back in Yarrambat days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wow. With a number of different presenters, and I knew all the names, but I couldn't recognise Jennifer. But it has been over 30 years, so she has matured.
Yeah,
and my eyesight's got worse as well.
Have we all? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a marvellous day out here.
And, you couldn't have asked for better weather either. It's just wonderful.
We've got real thanks to go to a real champion of the day, and that's Selwa.
Selwa, yeah.
And if you want to listen to Selwa, she's between 10 and 12 on Mondays, and she's been running the kitchen, so to speak, today with George. And
George has been here all day today, all day yesterday.
And all day yesterday, and he does it every Saturday and Sunday.
So big thanks going to George. And of course, Scott, who's been here since midday. I think Mark Turner was here earlier on today.
Mark Turner was here, and Melanie was here.
Yep, and yourself, of course.
And we've got a few others that I'll give thank yous to later on. But everyone's a volunteer, so that's the main thing at the moment. And
that's the thing. It's a way of giving back to the community. If you're not sure how you can help the community, or you're kind of scratching around for something, give community radio a try.
Exactly. And we had Hugh here from the Diamond Creek CFA, and Hugh maintains equipment, not necessarily at the fire station, but in premises.
Yep.
And he goes out and does that for the fire brigade. And there's a whole what we call host of different things you can volunteer into, particularly with the Rotary Club, the Diamond Creek, Diamond Valley.
The Lions Club. And, places like Uncle Bob's. We're going to be chatting to someone from them later. But the thing is, once you're part of one community organisation, it opens the door to all the others because you interact with them all.
Yeah. And
so you can go and, if you're in community radio, you can go and do something for Rotary, or you can do something for Uncle Bob's. You can help out with your local CFA. There's so many areas you can get into.
Well, it's like learning that Taswinder Singh, who does the Palestinian show from 8 till 10 on Mondays, Taswinder is associated with the Sikh cultural organisation, and what he does across Victoria and across Australia, and he's been with them since about 1996. He only looks like a 25-year-old.
You're only saying that because he's listening.
And it's just incredible the effort that people put in to help their community.
It is. I mean, if you're with an ethnic or multicultural organisation, we have ethnic programs on Plenty Valley FM, so you're most welcome to come along and be part of that. And, of course, our next Introduction to Broadcasting course is on June the 9th, I believe.
Coming up, so have a look on the website.
If you'd like to become a station presenter, you can come along to that meeting and do the presenters course, and you can actually get your own program.
Exactly.
And there's all manner of ways you can help out around the station. You can become a station volunteer, station presenter, station subscriber. Just throw a bit of money at us once a year for the privilege of listening. Or if you've got a small business, you can become a station sponsor. We'd love to hear from you.
Or you become a outside broadcast coordinator. And
yes, because we're replacing the one we've got any day soon.
Exactly.
But it's so good that we can actually do outside broadcasts again. Even on a limited scale, we can get back out in the gig. Because prior to COVID, we were doing them. We were doing a lot of them.
We were doing a lot between September and March.
Yeah, it was our peak period. And of course, we've missed most of our big ones.
Eltham Jazz.
Australia Day, Eltham Jazz Food and Wine Festival, and Wilsey Show. But it's nice to get out to ones like this, getting back out in the community, flying the flag, and of course, giving back to the community. It's a very important thing.
Yeah, places like the Panton Hill Festival, the Bottle Festival at Hurstbridge, the Eltham Jazz Food and Wine Festival, the Eltham Rotary Festival,
all of them.
and the Diamond Creek Rotary Festival. Diamond Creek, is it the Lions or the
close enough?
Yeah, no, it's the coming up the town fair with Diamond Creek Rotary.
Oh, we've done Diamond Creek Town Fair in the past. That's always been very, very,
September
very
the
good.
11th is coming up, so they're planning on that. So we should be there with them. So
hopefully
that should be really good.
But if you've got nothing else on, do pop down here to the Diamond Creek Rotary Tram Cafe. It's like being in Neighbours. If you watch Neighbours, it's the same thing. We've got a tram and there's a little kitchen inside the tram, and people bring. I mean, obviously not Carl Kennedy and anyone like that. But we've actually got people here, and it's kind of a neighboursy sort of vibe going on. So if you're into that sort of thing, you can actually come down and see a real one working. It's smart.
Well, it just shows you that you haven't got much to do these days, doesn't it, when you watch the Neighbours?
Neighbours is on at 6:30. It's well after the close of working hours.
No worries. So people of all different walks of life and all differences of entertainment are volunteers around the world.
Yeah, volunteerism is very, very important because you can't go around expecting to be paid for everything. You should just do something for the sake of doing it occasionally. And this is a great way to... It's like an entry-level thing.
Yep.
And as I said, I'd never even considered doing community radio. I didn't even know there was a station in my area. And I've been here for 20 years.
Yeah, and same here. I've been here for 30 years and love it.
Well, it's about time you went home. The family's been asking about
exactly.
it. Where's Bill? It's been 30 years.
Julie just said, he's at the station. All right. Thank you very much, David.
And, of course, great people like David doing programs and that marvellous stuff.
Propping us up at the other end.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, David. It's back to you in the studio.
Plenty Valley FM.
Well, you're with Bill McGillivray, and I'm at the Diamond Creek Tram Cafe. Hi, everybody. Give us a wave. And they're all there lining up for their coffee. And Plenty Valley FM team are looking after coffee and little nibbles there for the day. So right now I have someone from the CFA, and you don't need to be a fit young fellow. You don't need to be on the truck, but there are a whole lot of other variety of activities that you can do. And I have with me Hugh from the Diamond Creek CFA. Tell us a little bit about what you do at the CFA, Hugh.
Well, first of all, I've got to say I'm neither young nor fit. So, yeah. I look after the FEM, which is the fire equipment maintenance. That's fire extinguishers, fire blankets, hose reels, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And what do you have to do with those? What are some of the things that cause you heartache?
Well, any commercial property has to have their equipment maintained twice a year. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're not up to standard, and that means if they have an insurance claim, you may not get paid out.
Right. So you have to have that little stamp on the fire extinguishers.
It's actually a metal tag that you clip.
Yep.
Yep.
Crimp it. And what's your area of work? Where do you have to go to do this work?
Well, wherever the client happens to be.
Oh, right. So,
but within the state.
Yep. Oh, right. So it's just not contained to Diamond Creek?
Not at all. Not at all. We're always very happy to talk to new potential clients or old ones and happy to go and have a look, have a chat. One thing we're not allowed to do is make suggestions.
Right.
When we're actually forbidden by the CFA Charter.
Yeah. So what happens if you see something that's not appropriate?
Well, I can say to you, do you really want that fire extinguisher inside where the fire might be?
Little things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
But no, I can't say to them, you better move that because it's in the wrong place.
Yeah. Oh, right. And do you, how long you've been... This is your second CFA unit that you've been involved with.
Yeah, I was in Mount Eliza as well when my wife and I lived there.
And you've moved to Diamond Creek.
I have. When my wife died, I sold up and moved in with my daughter.
And you do a bit of cruising, I understand.
Yeah, I have a small yacht that's about to hit the water. I sold a bigger one. So... yeah, it was a very pleasant lifestyle.
So I can just imagine you sitting on the deck there watching the whales tow you around the world.
Well, yeah, the whales is fascinating. Occasionally you actually have to stop the boat.
So they don't run over you?
No, so you don't run over them. They don't like it when you hit them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come back at you and flick their tail.
You can do.
Yeah.
Closest I've ever had is one breathe on me.
Oh.
And I can tell you, they eat fish for dinner.
Oh, well, that wasn't a volunteer. Well, it was voluntary that you did the tour, but it's not part of your volunteer work.
No.
It's enjoyable that you have a number of different opportunities to do in your life, and you've chosen to volunteer. Now, why do you volunteer?
Why? I can't put a finger on it, but I've had a good life. My work was very satisfying, and I felt, let's give something back. And my wife also volunteered, as does my daughter and my son-in-law. And they don't know it yet, but my 2 grandchildren are volunteering as well.
They're volunteering to look after Grandpa.
Oh, they do that, yeah.
And how do you feel once you've gone out and done all this equipment management on the day? How do you feel when you come home at night?
Oh, fine. I was just nice and relaxed and glad to have done something constructive rather than sitting around twiddling my thumbs when I'm retired.
Yeah. And is that the only thing that you do?
That and sailing.
Sailing?
Yeah.
And the how did you get involved with doing the equipment management? Because that's a bit of a skill.
Unfortunately, when I sailed over here to Melbourne from Dublin, in the middle of the Pacific, I fell down on the boat and I crushed a couple of vertebrae. So I have a leg that doesn't work.
Properly?
Well, it needs a bit of help. So that ruled out being an active firefighter.
Yeah.
You just can't be hobbling around. So I looked for something else to do, and initially in Mount Eliza we set up a brigade support team and then got involved with this equipment maintenance.
So there are other things than jumping up out of bed in the middle of the night and jumping on the truck and going out and saving houses and people in cars that have done silly things.
There's a lot of other things that me doing in the background that people don't see. We do cleaning, brigade support in that, doing paperwork or any of that sort of stuff.
And as I mentioned before, the mechanical side of things with hose reels and other aspects, a bit of hydraulics and things like that. Your background?
I'm a marine engineer.
Well, the skills fit the task, don't they? So your skills can be utilised no matter what you do within a brigade.
Absolutely. If you're a circus performer, we'll find a use for you.
Yeah, because everyone has to take a tumble once in a while.
Yeah.
And how many support people does the brigade have rather than the active firefighter?
Well, they're not mutually exclusive.
They do both.
Yeah, some active firefighters are doing brigade support.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't do it the other way round. But we would have a support team of half a dozen to 10 people, depending on what's required.
And they do a lot of training as well.
Well, the active people do, but The brigade support, not so much.
But they do training for the youngsters, the junior brigade.
Yep.
There's volunteer support for that as well.
Absolutely. We're always looking for volunteers and juniors, anybody who can help.
Yep, great.
No skills required.
And they'll train you up.
Absolutely.
Now, how does one get in touch with the fire brigade other than ringing? I won't mention the number. But every Sunday morning there's someone down the brigade, isn't there?
Every Sunday morning we have what's known as station duty, where we clean up and polish and do radio checks and things. That starts about 8:30 every Sunday morning. Anybody can rock up and say, "Hello, I'd like to talk to you."
I'm Hugh. I'm here.
Yeah.
Great.
That's how I joined.
Yeah. And but I've never seen a firefighter with polished boots.
Very unlikely.
That's not part of.
But the trucks are polished.
Well, you've got to keep the equipment in full capacity. But some of those, what we call it, fire, their tunics, and their fighting,
the turnout gear.
The turnout gear. Some of them resemble a bushfire.
Yeah, there's two types of turnout gear. There's bushfire, and there's what you might call urban.
Yeah.
And they are different.
Because of the heat.
Because of the heat.
Right, terrific. All right, well, look, thank you very much for coming on and giving us an insight into the support roles of for the fire brigades, and it can be at Diamond Creek or Hurstbridge or Wattle Glen or wherever the CFA is. And how do they get? The best way to get in touch is go down and see them on a Sunday morning.
Yep.
Yeah, see what they do.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's the easiest way and very effective. And somebody will take you under your wing or their wing, look after you.
And they'll find out what skill sets you've got so they can give you an appropriate task.
Not before training.
Yep. Okay.
Always training.
Always training first off. Yeah, you have to know what you're doing when and where around the station, don't you?
You can't even get on a truck till you're qualified.
Have you been on a truck?
Oh, yeah.
Have you been qualified?
No. But I'm qualified FEM.
No worries at all. Thank you very much for coming on today. And
my absolute pleasure.
Give our regards to Fiona, one of the inspirations of the Diamond Creek Fire Brigade, and hope you're listening, Fee, and hopefully that you can get your strength up to become the senior stair running champion this year. Thanks a lot. Thanks, you.
My pleasure.
And I have a young lady in front of me at the moment, and she's purportedly from Uncle Bob's, but it's really not Auntie Bob. And it's I have with me Kelly from the Uncle Bob's Club. Welcome to Plenty Valley FM.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about Uncle Bob's, because it's been around for a few. Well, it's around since last century, hasn't it?
Just a little bit, yeah. So 79 years young, I like to say. The club was actually formed in a pub, which seems like a bit of a cultural story that seems to happen everywhere. But there were four gentlemen that wanted to give back to the orthopaedic ward of the Children's Hospital at Mount Eliza at that period of time. And what they decided was that their weekly fees would be 10 cents or a bob a week. So it's actually all around the shilling.
Yep.
And because at that period of time it was a gentleman's club, it became the Uncle Bob's Club. And, it's had such a fantastic legacy. In that 79 years, we're just shy of $18 million being donated to children's health, of which 13 million approximately is to the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeals. So we do have a long and varied history right across the state, and that's the best thing. We are Victorian. We have over 500 members and around 3,500 volunteers that assist us throughout the year.
Do you have local branches?
Yeah, we do. So Melbourne is predominantly based out of our head office area, but we have branching groups in St Arnaud, Nathalia, Bendigo, Ballerine, West Gippsland, Tyres. And then we also have pockets of groups of people that like to pop up every now and then, depending on what campaign we're running, and they'll assist in their local area as well, which is how we got involved with Diamond Creek Tram Cafe.
Now, one thing you've got to answer, which pub was it?
It was the Riversdale Hotel in good old Hawthorne.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
there's great history there at the Riversdale Hotel.
oh, there really is.
Hey, that's still there too,
It
isn't
is, and we still go, and they've still got the old meeting room where the gentlemen did sit and form that and held quite a few of the Good Fridays out of. So, yeah, it holds a very special place in our hearts.
Now, how do they go about raising the money?
Look, over the years it's changed, and we've had everything from the raft race in the Moomba parade to chook raffles, cow lotto, bogan bingo, trivia night, cake stalls, fun runs. You name it, I think we've done it. We've even had the local footy clubs having a swimming championships. A few years ago, we got a phone call from Malakuta. He'd found the trophy of the local swimming competition, and it was the Uncle Bob's Club, and it was all raising money for the children's health. And we have found the trophy, and we've now got that back as part of one of our history.
Still in Malakuta?
No, we've got it back. But they found it in the tips, so we're not sure how it got there, but it was really interesting to find those things.
Wasn't a clean-up after the fires down there, was it?
I think it was. Yeah, it was something that survived, and we got that back. But we also run markets, knitted stall, knitted goods. We have what's probably our most unique activity over every year, which has been running for 52 years, which is the wheelbarrow push. And every Good Friday, they push the wheelbarrow from Sorrento to Safety Beach, which is 29 kilometres long.
Gets a good run.
It does. And they literally walk down the middle of the Nepean Highway, and people drop in their money from their cars, or they've come off the foreshore, or wherever they've come from. This year alone, and it was an amazing day like today, weather-wise, was $64,500.
Crikey! Just imagine what you would have got if you had a portable EFT machine.
Yes. If only we could carry those while cars are still travelling. Not quite so safe. But that's where technology is coming in, and the good old corner collections and things, they're going to go. Yep. Safety-wise, speed, the amount of volume of vehicles on the roads, it is going to become a different thing, and we all have to adapt and change. And, they're the things that we're looking on. We're looking in the online spectrum, but what we've found is being out in the community, on the ground, talking to people, meeting and making great friends.
It's the face-to-face issue, isn't it? Yeah,
it really is. And look, COVID, I suppose, I can't say decimated our club, but it put a big chunk of hole in it. And
it curtailed it for a short period.
It did.
Yeah.
But one of the best things about coming out of COVID was all the volunteers and our members coming back together and seeing each other. And some of them literally only volunteer one day a year. Yeah. And they're their friends, and you see them catch up and caught up on all the stories and, met the next grandchild or the daughter or, it's such a unique thing to be able to come together and just watch all those smiles and people wanting to be together and raise money for such a fantastic cause, which is children's health.
Now, you've been down, Uncle Bob's has been down here to the Diamond Creek Tram Cafe, and you've raised a bit of money here? Yeah,
we have. We've been very, very lucky. We've raised, I think, around $1,500, $2,000. But the best part about that is the money that was raised here at Diamond Creek Tram Cafe has gone to your local hospital, which is the Northern Hospital.
Yep.
So as
the Children's Ward?
Children's Ward, yep. So we have a program called Local Giving for Local Health, and we partnered with Northern Health to fundraise for an ice and water dispenser machine. And why is that critical, some people might ask? It's a lot of kids, especially when they come out post-operatively, can't take fluids and they can't eat, but they can suck on ice, and that still is getting hydration into them, but also dealing with fractures, blistered lips, burns, all those types of things. So we were very lucky. We actually made that presion last Thursday, and it's
great.
Operative on the floor now in the ward.
Did you have to retrain the nurses?
No, it's just like making a cup of coffee. Just hold the cup there and ice is done. But the feedback we've got just in the couple of weeks that it's already been is it's changed the way they've been able to manage things on the floor in terms of not worrying about ice being in the freezer and then having to crush it. And if we got all the ice cubes in there and, there's just a machine that's plumbed in and away they go. It was lovely to see that making a difference to the children, and they have hundreds of children that go through, and they come from this area. Nillumbik is one of their areas that they're feeding from. So it was so lovely to be able to say, Diamond Creek Tram Cafe, look at the impact you've made in the first, few months that you've been operating.
Fantastic. Now, you're a volunteer yourself?
I am. I volunteer in a few different spaces, yeah.
Now, with Uncle Bob's, you're on the committee?
I was. At the moment, I'm sort of an employee, but yeah, I've been a board of director for 9 years and a volunteer for 35.
Hang on, did you start when you were 1?
I was 5, yes. We've got a bit of family history with the club. My sister was born 11 weeks prem, and the piece of equipment that saved her life was actually donated by the company that my dad worked for. So, we got really involved with that, and he became a state president. We've travelled all around Victoria. We've done every activity I think you can think of.
So you've done the wheelbarrow, right?
I have done, yes, the wheelbarrow.
Dad put you in it and pushed it?
No, Dame Elizabeth Murdoch has been driven down in the... she's been down there and was a very big advocate, and so is Penny Fowler, her granddaughter. But yeah, if I've been on a raft race, I've rattled the tins, whether it's been on a corner in the middle of Lansfield, getting the Lansfield CFA and the Romsey CFA, swimming and all of those things. So yeah, volunteering, I'm passionate about. It's such a great experience. The people I've met, the friends I've got for life, but also the impact that hopefully it's making back out into the community. And I think that's what it's about. It is about giving back.
What does it give to you personally?
Personally, I suppose one of the biggest things I'll always remember is that as part of the Good Friday Appeal, we did make a donation to Children's Hospital and the Gate Laboratory. And there was a 5-year-old daughter, a child, that had never been able to walk properly. And they were one of the first people to use the Gate Laboratory, which was measuring out how she stepped and then how the physio and all of those. And watching her develop over 6 months to take her first steps and then to run, I'll never forget that.
Wow.
So it's things like, it's those things, where you're seeing someone walk out, or, West Gippsland, and the equipment that they've now got, and it means that nurses are aided, but the parents are much more comfortable, Ballerine and the equipment that they've had down there, and that's servicing such a large area. It's those things that gives to me.
You've seen a plethora of support to the community through Uncle Bob's over the last, 36 years?
I have, absolutely. Our member base is sort of around that 500, but the amount of volunteers and the people that come in and out of the club to help, that 1 or 2 days a year. And, that 1 or 2 days a year is so special. And if everyone was able to donate one day to a cause that they're passionate about, the difference that will make to the whole world, to your own surrounding, whether it's your local football club or your local hospital or... whatever your passion
radio
is.
Station.
Exactly, radio station and bringing music and pleasure to people. Your local theatre, Diamond Valley Singers, they're another one that
you were
seen
involved,
a few.
You were involved very early on in your childhood, so to speak, down at Warrnambool.
Yeah, I was very lucky to volunteer at the theatre and the netball as well. And the one thing that stood out for me at the theatre was there was 2 programs, and one was Morning Mel's, but the patients from the local nursing homes came in once a month, and that was their one outing.
Yep.
And we got to make it special for them for that day. We made sure they got their cup of tea and they got their morning tea or whatever was going on at what period of time, and then we take them in, and to see them light up with the music and all those things that they'd remembered from their lives.
Yep.
But also Primary Performers, which is based for primary school students to put a play on and to watch them grow. Like, some of them walk in, they're so shy and timid and being on this big stage in front of a theatre of 500-odd seats, and then to see them belt it out, smash it in their performances at the end of that school holiday period. So it's done over the school term, and then they go in and do their 5 or 6 performances at the end of it. To watch them grow and foster is just incredible, and the confidence it gives them, the friends they do, it's wonderful.
Well, if you've got some time on your hands, you can come and work in community radio, because it's very rarely you get someone like you that can really talk on any subject at any time for the length you have. So it's been fantastic. So when you're going to the morning melodies, it's going to be very difficult to put something up that you haven't done. So thank you very much. How does one get in touch with Uncle Bob's if you want to volunteer for the 1 day or the 365 days?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Look, jump on our website, ubcvic.org.au, or look us up Facebook. We're there.
Just look up Uncle Bob's and they'll find it.
They will.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for coming along today, Kelly. It's been a great time talking to you, because you're the sort of person that volunteering's all about, and you've done it. You've worked it at both ends of the scale.
I have, yeah.
So thank you very much for talking with us today. Okay, thank you very much, Kelly. And we're live from the Diamond Creek Community Project, which happens to be the Tram Cafe. And if you want to know a little bit of history about Diamond Creek, or Nillumbik, as it was previously called, I'm talking to this lady by the name of Jean, and she's the president of the Nillumbik Historical Society, based in Diamond Creek. Good afternoon, Jean.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
No worries whatsoever. Now, I can remember at the radio station when we first became interested in radio, a fellow by the name of Jock Ryan was a pretty good local representative of history. Tell us a little bit about Jock.
Oh, Jock, yeah, he was one of the founding members of the Historical Society way back in 1973. He was integral to keeping as much of the information as we could get at that time, right through for the next 40 years or so, that we have now in our archives. So we were very fortunate in the early days to get information through Jock and other older families who are members as well, and to give us a really good base for our archives, particularly photos. We have over 2,000 photos of the district, and that's one of the main areas of interest for us to be able to share with the community. But we also like to share for some of the older families and also events over time.
Right.
So we, gather as much as we can. We're still gathering information and getting donations of photos, information, and also artefacts. We've got some wonderful artefacts there. So Jock was the one who managed all that. He did it for a long, long time. And
his family had the butcher shop on the hill, didn't they?
He sure did. Yeah. His father was a butcher, and what's now called A.D. Ryan's, or the Windy Mile, or whatever anybody wants to call it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, how far do your records go back?
Back to the 1840s. Yeah, way back as far as we can. It's right back to the very beginning of Diamond Creek. We have records, the physical records, things like titles and stuff to when properties were bought, the early 1850s mostly. But beyond that, we have family histories that go back to the early 1840s.
Right, and how have you managed to purloin all that information?
Very generous local people over the decades. Yeah, and we have visitors who come and they have an interest in the cottage and they find they've got a link to the area, and they'll say, oh, I've got something at home I can give to you, and it opens up a whole new avenue for researching things we may not have even known about in the first place.
Well, you mentioned something just then that you hadn't mentioned before, and that's the cottage.
Yes, that's right.
That's the home of the Nillumbik Historical Society. Tell us a little bit about that, because it was one of the first settlements? Yes,
Ella's Cottage was finished about 1865. It was built of local stone. It was built by a man named William Ellis, who originally came out in the mid-1840s from Devon. He brought his English farming expertise to the area and adapted that and brought, and built a farm around Ellis Cottage, which was originally 100 acres. He built the cottage after living on it for a while. He had a hut down near where the main road is, near the power lines across the road. And then he moved in with his wife into the building. Now, that building was through a few different owners over the years. When the Alana View estate was subdivided in 1983, there was 7 acres excised off where the power lines are that go up the hill, and the cottage was part of that. We were very fortunate that the Shire of Diamond Valley at that time just determined that the cottage was worth saving, and they put a lot of effort and finances into repairing that.
Because it was crumbling there at one stage, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So they did a wonderful job of renovating. They were even able to replicate the windows and doors because there was enough left to be able to do that. So they really cared about it. At that time in 1989, they handed it across to us, the Historical Society, as as custodians on behalf of the community, and
Great.
that's how we've dealt with it ever since.
It's got a cellar too, hasn't it?
Oh, it does, yes. It was Philip Lovett and Peter Marriage built that cellar to store different things we think of. Yes, that's right, because our jock used to tell us about that. Yeah, so it was terrific. So,
and you've got a glass plate or something over the top of it now, haven't you?
Oh, it's got a trapdoor that's lockable, yes.
And as well as the what would you call it, the hut, you've also got a very good facility for storing all your records.
Yes, exactly. We the society over back in the 1990s worked very, very hard doing volunteer work and gathering funds to build a barn, and that was a long time coming, and they finally realised their dream in the 1990s. In about 15 years ago, we were given funds to build an archival facility in the corner of the barn, and we now have a dedicated archives room that's lined and air-conditioned for us to be able to store all of our really important documents and photographs.
So it keeps them in pristine condition, as much as they can be called pristine.
Well, you can imagine the biggest enemy is dust, isn't it? So it keeps the dust away.
Dust and damp. Yeah,
exactly, that's right.
Now, you mentioned one key ingredient to this, and that is the volunteers worked hard.
Oh, gosh, yeah. They still work hard. We have a dedicated group of volunteers, mainly on our committee. We have a committee of 10 now, which we're very lucky to have.
The 10 disciples.
The 10 disciples, yeah, exactly. And they, we work a lot of hours. I mean, it's uncounted hours. We don't really sit down and think how many hours we put in.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's two of our continuing volunteers. One gentleman named the name of Ron Gordon. He was there from the very first day in 1973, and he's still volunteering today.
Crikey!
So he and his wife Maggie, they do a lot of stuff to maintain the cottage in its condition that's presentable for the public, because we do open to the public, and they work very hard to keep it clean, make sure it's a really pretty cottage of the time.
And the cottage is open when?
On the first Sunday of the month, between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m.
So,
except for January, because mostly it's just about New Year's and everyone's still recovering, so we don't open at New Year.
So it's coming up very shortly to the first Sunday of the month is the 7th of June.
Yes, so the 6th of June.
6th of June, yes.
Yes, 6th of June.
I was just checking.
Yeah, it's the 6th of June, and we normally have at least 2 or 3 of our volunteers on duty, because that's one of our major volunteer things over and above the projects that we do, and they'll be there to help you through the cottage and to do a tour and tell you about any questions you have.
Okay,
as well.
I've got to cut this short because it was so interesting. And how does one become a volunteer at Alice Cottage or the Nillumbik Historical Society?
Just contact us. We have a new website. It's nillumbikhistory.org.au, and we have a contact us page there and a membership page, and it's not too expensive to be a member. You don't have to put your time out to be a member. Just being a member really supports the work that we do, but of course we always love to have volunteer time donated as well. And so just contact us there, or just contact us and chat to us. There's a contact us number there, and we can give you a call and have a chat to see if you fit into any of our needs and whatever you can help us with.
And if you'd like a very indulgent sponsor, do the same thing. Contact you.
Yeah, exactly, that's right.
Terrific.
So have we got time to talk about the VCAL students just very briefly?
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. We went to the 6th year now of working and partnering with the Banyule Nillumbik Local Learning and Employment Network and the Diamond Valley College VCAL classes. And over the last 6 years, we've worked on major projects around the college as part of their work placement program. And so we're now an integral part of the Diamond Valley College's VCAL work placement program.
And I was part of that a couple of years ago with the VCAL people.
That's right.
They did a bit of a story on me.
Oh, did they do yours too? Yes. It's interesting. One of the people they did stories on is now one of our committee members.
Oh, right.
So, we actually do work with other historical groups around the district as well, right across Nillumbik. So we meet every quarter as part of a meeting with
combined.
the Yarra Plenty Regional Library Service and the arts and culture person at the shop. Shire, and we meet every quarter and catch up and help each other out too, which is terrific.
Beautiful. All right, well, thank you for coming along today.
Not a problem.
Explaining what you do as a volunteer, and
Yes.
you've been there for a while.
Yeah, I'm 15 years now. Yes.
So that's what volunteering is all about, putting your time in to help out the local community.
Yeah, well, we've been there today. I'm going back there now for another hour or two.
Oh, that's right. You're doing some records today, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
All right, thank you, Jean. And,
thank you very much, Bill. It's been fantastic.
And I've got to do a few thank yous, and then we swing into a pre-recorded interview I did at the Banyule Volunteers Day at the main hall in Ivanhoe. So thank you very much for being part of this journey today.
Thank you very much.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Right, I'm talking with Karen, a Community Liaison Officer from the Banyule City Council, who works with a lot of the non-profit organisations. Karen, we've just been experiencing a beautiful afternoon put on by the Banyule City Council for volunteers. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're most welcome. It's something Council likes to do, to acknowledge the contribution that volunteers make to the local community, because as you saw today, there's representatives from a wide range of different types of organisations, and they really do make, Banyule the great place that it is to live.
And how many not-for-profits are there within the Banyule City Council off the top of your head?
Thousands. I couldn't tell you how many. I've worked with council for over 20 years, and I find new volunteer-based groups every year that I've never heard of before that have been around for a long time. So a lot of them are smaller sort of organisations. They're very self-sufficient, very frugal, but never ask, council for any help. They just keep on doing what they do, and they're the little ones that we sort of discover accidentally. But, there's lots and lots of sporting clubs in Banyule, big sporting community, lots of environment groups, lots of welfare type groups, and there's been even more of those emerge over the last 12 months with the pandemic and responding to that crisis. Really in all walks of life there's volunteers working.
And as you said, there's quite a few in the Banyule environment, and they make a real big difference to the community, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah, because we, the groups themselves or council couldn't afford to pay for all that work that happens. It contributes millions of dollars to the economy and really makes stuff happen that wouldn't happen otherwise.
And it's been a great tribute to you guys with the effort that you've put in today and the organisation to really wrap up the volunteer week of celebration. And thank you very much from Plenty Valley FM and the rest of the community for the services that you provide at Council.
Oh, well, you're very welcome, and it's more about council saying a really big thank you to all the volunteers out there that are contributing to Banyule, and as I said, do it without asking for very much from council at all, so we really appreciate it. And it's great to have the opportunity to give volunteers some time off, time to sit back, relax, have something nice to eat and be entertained, so it's our pleasure.
And it's the recognition by council of the work that the volunteers do.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's only once a year, but, it's a good opportunity to do that.
A bit like a birthday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, that's right.
Thanks very much, Karen, and thank you for all the services that you've given to